Hi, good afternoon. Courtney Scott here. It is November the 3rd of 2016, and as usual, there's no shortage of news going on around the country and perhaps in your neck of the woods. Just happy to be alive today. Lots going on in the news, and I'm going to detail a somewhat hopeful yet disturbing report by Zero Hedge today. Armed militias prepare for violence in case of stolen election. I'll start reading right here. After repeated warnings by Donald Trump that the election may be rigged, resulting in a stolen election, at least one group is paying close attention. As Reuters reports, quote, camouflage members of the 3% security force have mobilized for rifle practice, hand-to-hand combat training, and an impromptu campaign rally for Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Quote, how many people are voting for Trump? Hoorah! Asks Chris Hill, a paralegal who goes by the code name Blood Agent. Hoorah! Shout a dozen militia members in response as morning sunlight sifted through the trees last weekend. Why the odd ritual, because as Reuters notes, as the most divisive presidential election in recent memory nears its conclusion, some armed militia groups are preparing for possibility of a stolen election on November 8th and civil unrest in the days following a victory by Democrat Hillary Clinton. While the 3% security force says they won't fire the first shot, but they are not planning to leave their guns at home either. An hour south of Atlanta, the 3% security force started the day around the campfire, taking turns shooting automatic pistols and rifles at a makeshift target range. They whooped with approval when blasts from one member's high-powered rifle knocked down a tree. The group operates independently but is affiliated with a national armed movement that calls for members to defend individual rights in the face of what they see as an overreaching federal government. The movement draws its name from the notion that no more than 3% of American population fought in the Revolutionary War against Britain. Amid war games, Hill weighed plans for a possible armed march on Washington if Clinton wins. He said he doesn't want his members leading the way, but they will defend the protesters if need be. His group will not hesitate to act if President Clinton tries to disarm gun owners, he said. Trump's campaign has energized militia members like Hill, who admire the Republican mogul's promise to deport illegal immigrants, stop Muslims from entering the country, and build a wall along the Mexico border. Trump has repeatedly warned that the election may be, quote, rigged, and has said he may not respect the results if he does not win. At least one paramilitary group, the Oath Keepers, has called on members to monitor voting sites for signs of fraud. Let's see what else he has to say here in this article. Quote, I will be there to render assistance to my fellow countrymen and prevent them from being disarmed, and I will fight and I will kill, and I may die in the process, said Hill, who founded the militia several years ago. It says Trump's candidacy has emboldened Army vigilante groups to speak more openly about challenging the rule of law, said Ryan Lenz, a researcher at the Southern Poverty Law Center. Quote, prior to his campaign season, these ideas were relegated to sort of the political fringe of the American political landscape, he said. Now these ideas are legitimized. Over the past week, some prominent Trump supporters have hinted at violence. Quote, if Trump loses, I'm grabbing my musket, former Illinois Representative Joe Walsh wrote on Twitter last week. Conservative commentator Wayne Root fantasized about Clinton's death while speaking at a Trump rally in Las Vegas on Sunday. Armed paramilitary groups first gained prominence in the early 1900s, fueled by confrontations in Ruby Ridge, Idaho, and Waco, Texas, culminating in a militia sympathizers' 1995 bombing of a federal office building in Oklahoma City that killed 168 people. Their numbers dwindled following that attack, but have spiked in recent years, driven by fears that President Barack Obama will threaten gun ownership and erode the power of local government. The result has been a record surge in gun background checks, a proxy for firearm purchases. And I think that you pretty much get the point about the article, but I will tell you this is zerohedge.com, and look for the article "Armed Militias Prepare for Violence in Case of, quote, Stolen Election." So it looks like the American people, or at least some number or percentage of the American people, are already looking forward to the corruption that will probably come about due to Hillary Clinton's continuance of fraudulent activity. So these militias seem to be pretty serious and appear to be the real deal. So just another aspect to this whole crazy happening, this election, and this history and this historic time in history. So very disturbing. So you definitely want to be prepared. First of all, be prayed up as usual. Always look to God first. But we do have the Second Amendment, which gives us the right to bear arms. And should a tyrannical government come about, that's what that amendment was for. So while we don't encourage violence, we do encourage people to stand up. You know, that is in your constitutional right. God did tell us to follow the laws of the land, but in this case, the law of the land is the Second Amendment, or part of the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is part of the law of the land. So, in that, from that viewpoint, I would say that we're within our rights as Americans and as patriots. There's a lot of corruption going around, and you know, the most important election is upon us, and we have about approximately, I think it's 5 days now. And hopefully you've done your research. Hopefully you've come to an informed conclusion on what you're going to do. I do know that in the state of Wisconsin, I believe it's being said that you can change your vote. This is one of the states that you can change your vote if necessary. But I think everything is out in the open. I think everything is transparent now. I think you can clearly see the division between the two candidates. If you're a Bible-believing Christian, then you should be going off of your biblical principles and making your decision and choice. So you don't want to mess this one up. However, though, you know, I don't know, me personally, I don't believe that we have another time to get this right after this election of November the 8th. This is still a blessed day because God is still on the throne. And he, you know, hopefully you know of God and you're looking to get closer to him. He has the answers that you're looking for. They're definitely not in the political realm, as you see. Trump, I do not believe is a savior. He's not the Messiah. But there is, in this case, the lesser of the two evils. Definitely want to pay close attention to the stance when it comes to abortion, same-sex marriage, and things like that, because I think you should know that where God stands with these two very important issues. So again, I'm not going to belabor any longer. Have a happy November 3rd, 2016. Stay tuned and stay prayed up. And as always, find God in your day. God bless you, and thanks for tuning in. This is Courtney, KnowledgeWell Media. Congratulations to the Cubs on their win after 108 years in the making.